Hi everyone, Kelt here. This is a question and answer on my last video, which is entitled When Meghan Was Sent Away by Order of the Queen. One question, which has been asked by many of you, why did the Queen take the engagement ring? And as it was from Harry and not the royal jewels, could she do that? Also, there was a query as to whether there was a prenup to say that Diana's jewellery would be returned if there was a divorce. My answer is that the Queen could take Diana's diamonds back, as they would be worth a lot more due to their history. They would still be considered part of the royal jewels because Diana was a royal, and the Queen would not want to risk Meghan selling them. Bear in mind that the Queen at this point knew that Harry and Meghan were going to be moving away and separating themselves from royal life. The centre stone was from Botswana and sentimental to both Harry and Meghan, and the other two diamonds either side were from Diana's jewellery. Others ask, was the wedding ring taken as well, because she wasn't wearing that either when she left the building. I didn't mention about the wedding ring because I hadn't had that confirmed until now. The wedding ring was taken at the same time. This was because it belongs to the Queen. The gold is very rare, Welsh gold, which all royal wedding rings are made from. This gold had not been mined in over 20 years. The tradition started with the Queen's mother, Elizabeth Bowes-Lyon, on her wedding day in 1923 and has continued ever since. So it makes even more sense for the wedding ring to have been taken back. Another question was, would there have been a prenup regarding Diana's jewellery being handed back in the event of a divorce? I really would think so, but I remember back around the time of the wedding that there was a disagreement between Harry and the Queen because the Queen was insisting on a prenup and Meghan was refusing. And as far as I know, there was no prenup right up until the last minute. Something was signed at the chapel just before the wedding. This is why the Queen was glaring at Meghan. There are reasons why Meghan believes the prenup to be invalid, but that's for another video. This isn't a question, but a statement, and I think most of us are totally in agreement with it as it is, and I quote, "I've been saying from day one that Meghan was removed from the royal family by Her Majesty the Queen. This is why she's hell-bent on destroying the royal family." Someone else says that the Queen would not take the diamonds out because the piece they came from was part of Harry's inheritance. They belonged to him. Yes, but it is possible that this was being done on Harry's behalf, which could be why he is full of venom towards them. I would think that the way he had been so controlled and so mentally fragile that his family would step in any way they could. 3 questions from someone here. 1. Why is she not in prison? My answer, don't assume that she's not facing the consequences of her actions, and some are connected to outside of the royals. 2nd question, why was the nation not told of her depravity when we were funding her life? My answer is, there is a bigger picture here, and we have to let it play out. Which leads to the next question, will we ever be told? Yes, absolutely. Someone else points out something and says that the photos are of her in Canada, but they are not. I know the source of the pictures, and if you look carefully at the top one, you'll see it says Dorfman Theatre on the wall and on the left. This is part of the National Theatre and is situated on the east side of the National Theatre. This is in South East London. That photograph was most definitely taken there. Someone else asked about the Canada House visit and the timing of events around this time. Well, the timeline is as follows. They visited Canada House on Tuesday afternoon. They were very much on a high after their stay in Canada. And then that evening, after the Canada House visit, they made a post on Instagram saying that they would be stepping back from royal duties. Due to the Instagram post, the Queen wanted to meet Meghan the following day, but Meghan refused as she had a meeting at the Dorfman Theatre, which is part of the National Theatre. Another question is from someone who says that they're confused by the timeline and asked, did the late Queen alter Meghan's engagement ring? This person says, I wonder if the Queen replaced them with fake ones, like she did with a lot of Meghan's other jewellery, including her wedding tiara. I don't believe she replaced anything. It was a while before we saw Meghan wearing her rings again, and I believe that Meghan bought herself a cheap ring that looked good, and that was the ring that we saw from then on. She must have had to buy herself another wedding ring as well, because that would not have been given back to her. Not at that stage. The Welsh gold would have gone back to the Queen. Harry had had the ring altered with a different band, or rather Meghan said that Harry was so wonderful by having it altered for her. That was in 2019. Back in 2019, Harry was supposed to have had the ring altered for Meghan with a different band. Or rather, Meghan put the pressure on Harry to get the ring altered. Or maybe Meghan got it altered and said how wonderful Harry was for doing that. Either way, it was altered back in 2019. And I don't believe that Harry would have paid for yet another ring alteration in 2020. I just want to take a moment to address another comment from someone who says that this is all old news. There is nothing new. Why am I making this video as there's nothing new? Well, for quite a few of you, it's not news. But for many of my new subscribers who didn't follow the news and rumours in the early years of Meghan's marriage did not know about these things. Also, a lot of my viewers that do know about all these things are enjoying the refresher. I also had forgotten a lot of this, and it's good to remember these things that happened in context with what we know now. I'm not making this video as news. Remember, I changed my title of my YouTube channel years ago from Celt News to Celt Views, and I hope that helps. Another viewer asks about Meghan allegedly stealing some jewellery and asks if true, and says, if true, I would love to hear your insight on this, or did you do a video on this? My answer is I haven't done a video on this particularly, but I am aware that Catherine's jewellery had gone missing, and one thing in particular, she was loaned by the Queen and was asked to return, and she said it was lost. So from that moment, she was not allowed to wear any royal jewels. But I think the Queen was very aware of what Meghan was like during the Tiara Gate thing, which was right before the marriage. So she was on to her then. She would have been watching everything. The Queen did gift Meghan with some pearl earrings on the train tour that they did together, but I doubt that the Queen would ask earrings to be returned to her. They were not that valuable, I think. Someone else asks, is there any way that you could find out whether or not the Queen was able to retrieve the diamonds that Meghan had already changed? I should think that one of her bodyguards would have noticed. She showed off her new engagement ring at the Trooping of the Colour in 2019, so that's 18 months after the engagement. The removing of the rings by the Queen's orders was January 2020, the 8th of January, in fact. Another viewer says, I remember when the pics of M coming out of the theatre were published and people noticed that she wasn't wearing her rings. My question would be as to why the Queen would demand her ring. The marriage seemingly still intact. They were just leaving the UK. Would the monarchy have demanded Wallis Simpson to give up her engagement ring? My answer to that is we do not know the half of it regarding what Meghan had done, and it was, I believe, a way for the Queen to show her authority. Wallis Simpson was not anything like Meghan in this way. Whether Meghan and Harry's marriage was okay at the time or not, the way that Meghan was running riot through the monarchy and the things that she appeared to be getting away with was so serious that the Queen had to act fast and take some control. We don't know what else Meghan had taken. There are a few things that came out, but think about what we don't know, about what she did get away with that nobody knows about except the royals. Isn't it bad enough that she did lose jewels and that she did take things and take photographs in very personal areas? These things are bad enough. Let's not forget about the bullying allegations from the staff. So whether the Queen had the rings tested to see if Meghan had in fact changed the stones previously, or whether they were the genuine ones and she had them removed herself, we don't know. But by taking them at that time, to me, it proves how serious it had become with Meghan. Wallis Simpson would never have refused to meeting with the reigning monarch. She would never have taken photographs in private areas. She would never have stolen anything, and all the rest of the things that we don't know about, which must have been so serious for the Queen to have done what she did. And several of you have said that Meghan was displaying her hands in an unusual way. She wouldn't normally do that with her hands splayed out to make sure that everybody could see that she was not wearing rings. Some of you said that it was because she was trying to show Harry and give him an ultimatum that when he had his meeting that he was not to settle for anything less than being half in, half out. But we know that it was even better than that because they were taken from her. And yes, to many of you who have said that this is the reason why Harry was so adamant about an apology from his family. Remember that he said they know what they've done. Well, that's it. So, thanks for your comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.